Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to a new episode of Dorm Talks with Chris and John. I'm John, he's Chris. I almost said I'm Chris, but I'm not Chris. Uh,
He
I,
wishes, but he's not me.
you know, what can he do? What can he do? All right, how are we doing, Chris, on this fine Monday night? We usually do Sunday night, but we said, hey, if a bunch of movies were going to happen Monday night, might as well do Monday night.
Yeah, it was my idea.
It was
Nah,
definitely Chris's idea. All right, so Chris, how you doing? How was your Monday?
it's all right. Not too much happened today. Very chill. You know, just life.
Yeah,
Just life. Really excited about the free agency going on. Kind of wish it was happened at like 12 a.m. last night because I always thought that was really funny whenever it happened like that. But
yeah.
what can you do?
A Monday afternoon is cool too, I guess.
It's
I,
not as cool.
it's definitely like more dry than usual just because of like the whole second apron thing and because of like all the big names are kind of already signed
Yeah,
and none of the teams have money. Like
yeah,
everyone's broke,
yeah.
pretty much, except the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, so they're all kind of just like me. Not a lot of money to go around. We're just living.
Just winging it. The
Yeah.
Sixers just signed Trent Wofford, which is a good value pick, I would say. So it's gonna be a lot of stuff like that, like these underrated signings. Um, which is it's gonna be important when it comes to the season, especially in the East, which is what we're gonna talk about a lot, because the East is wide open, and there's been some teams swinging for the fences here a little bit. So if you want to jump right in, I feel like we should talk about the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the teams we should talk about.
Yeah, we each have a few teams we want to talk about, so um, we're not gonna get through all of them, but we want to go to matches. But I feel like does it make sense to start with the Hawks?
Yeah,
Okay, so the Atlanta Hawks. First of all, I feel like last year they set themselves up really well. Just the fact that you do the DeJounte Murray trade
hmm,
and you just get off of that situation that didn't fit at all, and you get Dyson Daniels, who's been and was an all NBA defensive player, and then you draft Zachary Richarche, which is going to be a really nice rotation piece for you, and then now they're kind of just like swinging for the fences. They're like, hey, East is wide open. Let's trade for Porzingis because let's take a flyer on that because if he works, Porzingis being Trae Young's big man is pretty good. And then they just signed Nikhil Alexander Walker today.
yep.
So it's like they're doing these moves and they're really like I don't know. I Asa Newell was their draft pick. I think it was Asa. And then they did the trade with the New Orleans Pelicans getting an unprotected first round pick next year. So I just love what they're doing, not only setting them up for next year, but giving them like a legit shot in the East
Yep,
this year.
yep. And they also just signed Luke Kennard as well.
That's right, they did. They did. Shout out Luke Kennard, Grizzlies legend, man.
Shout out Clippers for letting him have how many threes was it again? Like eight, in like 5 minutes. If anybody remembers that legacy game.
I forgot about that. Is that the game that got him like that obnoxious contract?
Probably.
Like,
He
because
was a foregone guy from that era where we had random 3-point snipers playing out of their mind for a season, getting big contracts before becoming bad again.
shout out Duncan Robinson, man.
Shout out Davis Bertans.
Shout out 38-year-old Kyle Korver.
Most of all, who was the man that lost the Nets that playoff series against the Bucks?
Josh Harris.
Joe
What?
Harris.
Joe Harris. Josh Harris is
Yeah.
the owner of the Sixers. Joe Harris.
Shout out Joe Harris, especially.
Don't shout out Josh Harris. Anyway. Um, so yeah, I I really like the Hawks are what the Hawks are doing because you have these you have this offensive engine with Trey Young, and then you get guys that can shoot the ball,
Mhm.
and then you guys have guys that can defend like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Porzingis is a good defender. It's like Porzingis is a rim protector.
Yeah,
Um, it's this is how you build a team around Trey Young, and
8 years in, we've all kind of figured it
and
out now.
yeah, and they're finally figuring out how to build a team around him, and in a league where we're now entering like a lot of parity and the East being wide open, which I feel like I'm overstressing, but this is what you do because you don't need like a bunch of big names, which they try to do with DeJounte Murray, right?
Yeah.
Just get guys that fit, man. And
Hmm.
Nickeil Alexander Walker was a swing, but that's a safe swing, man. He was crucial for the Timberwolves this year. A big part of their team. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of what they got going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of taken them a while to figure it out. And uh also with Zachary, it's a big thing, not Zach. It's a big thing to think about how they missed out on two like generational first picks.
Yeah.
Like the weird middle child, you know. But it's also a thing of looking at it as making do with what you have, you know. You don't have a generational prospect to throw next to Trae Young. So now it's a matter of going out and getting guys that fit.
Yeah.
So, we obviously see they're trying to get a return to that Eastern Conference Finals run that they had a couple years ago. And with the East probably being weaker than it was back then, this is the perfect time. And it feels like they're the only Eastern Conference team that's genuinely making moves as well, outside of the Nets, but the Nets are just giving away players
And the Orlando Magic, I would say.
and the Magic. But yeah, yeah, actually, yeah, them and the Magic, which is a weird thing to think about.
Yeah, it is weird. I think I feel like if the Sixers had more means to make moves, they would. I
Mhm.
mean, VJ Edgecombe is a move, but it's like, you know, it's a draft pick. And it's like
Mhm.
I think with the market kind of like being stuck, I think you assume they're gonna keep Quentin Grimes and Yabu, keeping Gershon Yabusele doesn't seem like a long shot anymore now that like these bigs are coming off the board and this money's being spent because
Mhm.
there's really a very limited pot of money. So I think we're gonna start to expect more East teams to come alive and do more. But yeah, the rest of my teams that are listed are Western teams. But if you want to go ahead and tell us the team.
Before we move on, speaking on the Sixers with the Quentin Grimes contract situation, that's definitely going to be something really interesting to watch because it feels like we moved on from Gershon being the, oh man, they're not going to be able to afford this guy to now it's a matter of, well, is Quentin Grimes gonna, is he gonna be here? Is he gonna be here? Is he gonna be here for the long run? And looking at it, he definitely is the odd man out of that four guard rotation right now.
It's a lot of athletic guards.
Yeah.
It's
And
a lot.
as far as the other guys, it's like the upside with them is probably a lot more than the upside with him.
I've seen a lot of you keep Quinn Grimes, and then it's like I've seen people say like, then you look at Maxi's contract, and it's like, well, do you like? People are really high on McCain, and I don't know. I like Jeremy McCain, but I don't think I'm higher on McCain than I am Maxi.
Hmm.
Um, just because of all Maxi can do on a court. Like we see he's not gonna be a 1A option, but he still does a ton for you. And I,
Yeah.
I I don't know if I see that from McCain yet for me to be like, okay, let's bring Quinn Grimes in and hey, if there's too many cooks in the kitchen, there's Maxi's contract. And I kind of get the logic, but I'm like, Maxi's really good, and we're forgetting how good Maxi is, I feel like, when we have those conversations.
Yeah, I feel like trading Maxey definitely isn't the place I'd go to from that. Like Quentin Grimes is obviously going to be the first on that chopping block.
Yeah.
I know me personally, I'm actually very high on McCain. Definitely one of those guys you just mentioned. Like I'm not gonna sit here and outright say he's gonna be better than Maxi is, but I wouldn't be surprised
You think
if
he has a ceiling that can be better?
yeah, I would not be surprised if in like the next 2 years he's
What do you see from him that gives you that?
well, I see that knockdown shooting just instantly. Number one.
Hmm.
The handles, they're already there, I think. Obviously Tyrese's handles and his finishing is better right now at this point.
Hmm.
Also, think of McCain's handles and his finishing are like really solid, really well polished for a rookie, especially his handles. I think that's going to be what allows him to better become a lead guard too in this league, while
Yeah.
also going to come off screens and be the deadly shooter he is. Like, we could be talking about this guy launching like six threes a game at like a 40% clip next to people like Joel, next to PG-13. So it's just a matter of that. But even then, it's still going to be like those two and VJ before I even think about like Quentin Grimes.
Right.
Like
Quinn
it,
Grimes is like a luxury kind of thing.
yeah, like when they got him, they definitely were thinking about him as a good guard piece, but not like, oh, he's gonna be better than the two guys we have, and then this third guy who's a superstar prospect coming in, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like then we were all thinking Ace Bailey.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel like everyone was thinking Ace Bailey, and I'm like the way it shook out, VJ just seems like the pick, the way to go.
Mhm.
But I don't know, man. I feel like it's a good problem to have. It's just gonna be
Mhm.
interesting, and
Yeah,
I feel like this is a we've been wanting who's gonna be next to Maxi. Now we have an overabundance. And
yeah,
it's like we don't have someone that's like necessarily a big guard, but I think that's okay.
yeah,
I feel like that's fine, especially if it's a guy like VJ who is a legit two-way player.
yeah,
Like no matter how you cut it, VJ's gonna have to be in that backcourt.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
all right, do you want to get into your one of your teams?
I think a real easy one to start off with is the Nuggets.
Yeah,
They've made some really good moves. I feel like everybody has been talking about, oh, Cam Johnson is like this guy. So for them to be out there, be the aggressive ones to go get him. For MPJ, who we know has been on the trade block for that team for the past, like, what, 2 years now.
it seems like it.
And then obviously them getting Bruce Brown back. You know what I'm saying? That's their guy. That's their guy. They loved him in that title run. We saw Nuggets fans talking about like getting him back somehow for the past like year. So it's definitely like they're a very obvious choice to be the first team to mention. And like them, along with the West is in general, you can see that aggressiveness is what's gonna make or break who's gonna be the next team in June next year.
Yeah, I mean, like we talk about the East being wide open. The West isn't exactly locked. Like the Thunder are obviously top dogs, right? Like clearly, but you know, like I heard someone say today, if the Nuggets have Cam Johnson and Bruce Brown this series instead of Michael Porter Jr. with a bad neck and whoever else, they probably have a better shot. And
You could
that
just say
series.
Russ. I wouldn't be mad.
Wait, what? What do you say?
You could just say Russ.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking Russ,
Or,
but um, shout out Russ. I wasn't even. Oh, I think you froze up. Are you back? All right, there you go.
yeah, you just froze up. I was like, it was so funny. It was just like,
That was our first freeze up. That's fine.
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I I actually wasn't even thinking Russ. I didn't. Anyway, I feel like that they would have had a. I agree with the takes that they would have had a shot, and they already had a shot because I mean the series went to seven.
Yeah,
But I feel like bring Bruce Brown, a guy works with Jokic well. You know, that's a pretty low risk move, and I don't know. I like it. I like the Cam Johnson trade a lot. I like I like the how you get off the contract and you can still have a really solid player there. Um,
Sorry about that.
oh, I was like, is he frozen or is he just standing really still?
I've mastered the art of standing completely still.
I
Shout out
was
my
like,
guy
dang, you're
Drax.
freaking me out. I was talking about Cam Johnson. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, Cam Johnson's got me like absolutely terrified right now. You know,
Cam Johnson's like Michael Porter Jr. if he was a more consistent shooter and played good defense.
yeah,
So,
it's been kind of weird to see because I definitely didn't think about the Nuggets just trading for him because I've seen so many Thunder fans talking about trading Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins for him earlier in this season, and then going to Isaiah Joe and Kenny Hustle and Usman Deng for him. So shout out the Nuggets though. They made great choices. You know,
listen, this is what you have to do when you have a guy like Jokic, um, and it's like the window is always going to be when
yeah,
he's there, and you have to capitalize on it. And the GM they just fired was very picky with who he kept, and he let a lot of key guys go. And when you got down to it, you were asking a lot of Christian Brown.
yeah,
And Christian Brown's a cool player. He's a good player. But to ask him to be like a third option, at times like a second option, because Jamal Murray was rough a lot of the year,
yeah.
that is a lot. And so you get like some. Now I'm not gonna talk about Cam Johnson like he's some like great offensive player. Like he's a good, solid shooter. More versatile scorer than Michael Porter Jr., but he's not like, he's a good player to have in there. But it's just I feel like it's just a lot more stable than what you had.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Bruce Brown are gonna look really good next to Aaron Gordon and Jokic again. And you can move Christian Brown back to the bench and allow him to kind of be less of like a try and be a KCP role and be more of like what he naturally is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that helps solve that very weak bench unit.
It These two moves does so much for them. It really, really does. Um, so yeah, shout out to
Thunder
the
and six
Nuggets.
still though, but yeah,
What was that?
Thunder and six still, but
Oh, of course, of course.
nah, I'm playing.
All right, so anything else about the Nuggets?
No, nothing much. Nothing that hasn't been said already.
Yeah, I think so. The team I want to talk about, I feel like this is kind of an easy one, but the Los Angeles Lakers.
Mhm.
Uh, Rich Paul kind of put the league in panic yesterday with that quote because LeBron had a tendency to do kind of the same thing every year of signing a one plus one deal, and it's like he would have the player option, and every year he would decline it and then just go on. He accepted it this year, and not only did he accept it, Rich Paul quoted in an article saying, "Hey, listen, Lakers are building towards the future. We get it. We understand. You got Luca. You're gonna want to build your team so you can compete with Luca for years. We
Yep.
understand that. But LeBron wants to win now. So we're gonna look at what you guys do." Ramona Shelburne said that uh, LeBron. This is like the first time they're not consulting LeBron about any moves they're making.
Mm.
He is not in the picture right now. So LeBron's camp's like, we're gonna see what you do, right? And if we don't think that this is a team that we can win with this year, which might be my final year, we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know how tradable a 40-year-old LeBron James on a $52 million contract is, especially with the second apron. Like you're gonna have to give up a lot just to match the salaries. Just to
Yeah.
match the salaries.
Yeah.
So it's like what teams can do that? Dallas can do it, maybe. Philly can do it, but do they want to do that? It's like it's very little teams that can do that. Cleveland can do it. Um, they could put like Jared Allen and Darius Garland in a package, but do you want to give up Darius Garland and Jared Allen for LeBron for 1 year?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the obvious. It's like, oh, duh, it's LeBron. It's like, sure, but it's like you gotta.
You got to think about it now.
It's a little. There's a little more nuance and context to it, in my opinion.
It's it's weird to say, but LeBron, in my opinion, is the most untradeable player in the league right now.
Yeah,
It's weird to say it, because it's like that's LeBron James, but we've never been in a situation where it's like, oh, did they just trade LeBron? And that's like better for the team, number one. And then, yeah, as you said, number two, like teams don't have $50 million right now to just
no.
cash, like
Thank
shoot
you,
the
CJ
bags.
McCollum.
Shout out CJ, he lost to the Warriors and he was like, yeah, that's not happening again. I can respect it, honestly.
I respect the hustle, man.
I can respect it. And I think, yeah, that's a big thing to look at because most teams don't have $50 million to just deal with right now.
The
And then
Brooklyn Nets is the only team, pretty much.
I imagine he wouldn't be happy about going there. That's probably a great trade for the Lakers, considering the Nets have like a million players that they want. But,
Let's see.
and then obviously not only that, but it's also the uncertainty of if LeBron stays, because even we heard earlier, Savannah James is talking about she'd want him to retire in the next like 2 years or so. And
Yeah, actually, we had a well, our good friend who makes all our thumbnails and whatnot had a question that we'll sprinkle throughout the episode. But she said, "What are your thoughts about um Savannah James wanting LeBron to hang up the sneakers?" Um, just I mean, I feel like that clip was so like I had to listen like 45 times to make it out, but like overall the conversation is like this is probably LeBron's last year. I kind of think it is. And it's like if you're LeBron, you want to retire. I mean, you play with your son. Are you gonna say, son, you're gonna carry on the Lakers legacy? You stay there, and I'll. Or do you say, hey, come with me? Like there's so many questions surrounding a LeBron trade that like you only get to the money yet, and then you get to the money. It's like I just don't. I understand that like the conversation around it is different and it's real because Rich Paul is actually like, saying like, "Hey, this is like we're considering all options here," which is different. But it's like, is it is it feasible? Like you said, he seems pretty damn untradeable.
yeah, yeah. And then the issue with that is also it's like he's still really good, you know. Like crazy to say, but he is still very good at like 40 years old. So it's also a matter of like they're not gonna be loaning when they're not gonna be wanting to be like, oh, we'll take like this one role player and maybe a first round pick for him. Like they're gonna want a lot. And like we don't even have to think about the money, but we're gonna have to think about like what the Lakers would actually take for a LeBron James. Like when you look at it, you don't just trade LeBron for anything. Like like that's supposed to be their thing. They're supposed to like, oh yeah, we have LeBron and Luca. Like everything should be okay. So if we're getting rid of one of these guys, we need something like way crazier than the package that we got for Luca.
Exactly.
So it's definitely like it's like how do you even approach that situation? I feel like the Lakers in one of the worst situations in the league.
It's so crazy. You can be like to say that, and you have LeBron James, Luka Doncic on your team,
Exactly.
and it's also insane for it to be conversations like, okay, my teammate's Luka Doncic, but I don't know if we have a chance to win this year.
Yeah,
Like that's nuts.
it is.
And it, I don't like. I'm not like the biggest fan of like the supporting cast, of course, but it's like, what situation do you go to that you don't wreck the team that's actually gives you better chance than what you have now?
Yeah.
Austin Reeves is one of the better third option players in the league. There's some centers they can go after to make that center position because they just didn't have a center
Yeah.
that last half of the year. So they didn't have a shot in the playoffs because they didn't have a center.
Hmm.
but you put a center in there. They signed Jake LaRavia, which isn't exactly like moving mountains here, but it's like
Shout out Chris Haynes. He thought he went to the Kings. You know, guy's a fraud. No, I'm playing.
shout out Chris Haynes, man.
Shout out Chris Haynes, man.
Um, what does he say? Haynes briefs. That's what he calls his reports. um,
Brief of bullshit. Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's like you're gonna have to like build around this, but I don't think you're like that far off. So if I'm LeBron, I'm just staying. I'm like, I get he likes to put pressure on organization, so maybe this puts more pressure. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
I think the issue with the Lakers, they just never get good role players.
Yeah,
They're like, ever since the original title teams ended, they're terrible at it. They love to chase the bigger stars and then they immediately just fold when it comes to surrounding them.
I mean that 2020 year they had so many guys, and it's like a lot of those guys were older, so it's like how many years do they have
Mhm.
to be at their level? But like they had a really good foundation of role player. Alex Caruso, KCP, Danny Green, like Rajon Rondo, Kyle Kuzma.
God.
It's like this is coming off their bench.
Yeah.
These weren't starters. Oh, Danny Green started, I think. But
Yeah.
like they had such a good team. But LeBron was just like, let's get my buddies in here.
Yeah. I think that was like the perfect like representation of it. Bunch of guys that are like, Alex Russo is widely recognized as one of, if not the best role player in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
KCD had a down year, but he was still recognized as like, oh yeah, that's a guy you get if you're trying to win a ring. Kuzma's trash, but that's kind of what we expected.
But he's had years even in Washington where he was good as,
Yeah,
good in his role.
yeah. And it's like when you have him there next to those type of guys, they had I think that was what, JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
They're still yup. And it's like they just struggle to find those guys now. It's like, like a lot of people point to the Russ trade, but I also pointed to as like a thing of like, is the front management thinking like long term?
And it's like, look who they replaced with. It's like they, they replaced like KCP with Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah,
Like it was just they they brought like DeAndre Jordan in. And it's like it's they're they were short sighted then, so now they have to be long sighted now when they have LeBron and Luca.
yep,
It's like now they have to switch it when it like kind of is hard to make the most sense out of that.
yeah,
I don't know. It's it
yeah.
is it's kind of a mess,
It's insane. It feels like they've been just kind of chasing big numbers and big names.
and now
It's
they have to step back when they have the two biggest names in the sport.
yeah. So, Lakers are definitely in a really bad situation. I thought the holes were obvious too, going back to the season. I remember, the infamous Lakers in five, all that stuff. It was crazy to see because it's like, like when you look at it, this team just isn't good, you know. And obviously, Austin Reeves was dealing with an injury reportedly.
Yeah,
And Luka didn't look at his best, but it's like you didn't give these guys a lot to work with. Rui Hachimura, I feel like he's been like the only other like decent role player for them. And even he's not been as good as you want him to be,
yeah,
you
he's
know.
good, but
And then people point to them not having a center, but then it's like, well, what do you put Jackson Hayes in? He's terrible.
yeah, it's like people were like getting on JJ Redick for being like, you had Jackson Hayes sit on the bench at least try. I'm like, have you seen Jackson Hayes play?
Isn't good. Like he's an okay lob threat, and that's about it. He's not a good rim protector. He's not a good perimeter defender. Doesn't have good switchability. Just not very good at anything. So there's a reason why he was sitting on the bench. Obviously, yeah, Rudy Gobert might not go for like 20 and 20 in an elimination game, but you know who might? Who might? Anthony Edwards. You know what I'm saying? Like now they lack the switchability to attack the perimeter. So all of a sudden, Anthony Edwards sees him and he just sees food every time, you know,
Exactly.
stuff like that. So, and it's also, it really wouldn't matter because he's not out rebounding Rudy Gobert anyways.
No, not even
Like, there's a reason he was on the bench.
exactly.
So, and now you see Lakers fans, saying like, "Oh, let's go get DeAndre Ayton," and so I'm like, that's just like, it's gonna be the same issue, man.
I saw I saw someone they they said you asked for DeAndre now, but in 6 months they're gonna be releasing his grandmother's address.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then they also just lost DFS, so oh, there goes the other like role
There was
player.
their best role player.
Yeah, you were all everybody was so happy, but yeah, well, there he goes. Lost him to one of the best teams in the West.
Houston, man.
Which, if you don't have anything else to say about the Lakers,
Go for it.
then that leads me directly to the next team I want to talk about, which is an easy one, the Rockets. All of a sudden, that's like one of the best teams in the league.
It's are we in like 2014 because it's Rockets and Thunder, man?
Thunder. Somehow the Nuggets are here.
And then the Nuggets.
It's
Oh man.
yeah.
Just go ahead. This is your team. Go ahead.
Yeah, I figured you had this team written down too.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
They're my second team right now. But go ahead.
Everybody's been talking about it, but yeah, you just took the second seed in the West, gave them Kevin Durant, got rid of Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, and also gave them DFS, retained so many of their good players still.
Gave away zero young guys.
Zero young
Zero.
guy. I guess Jalen Green was young, but he's also not good. He's like 24. No,
Yeah.
no, he's like 20.
He's
Dude,
like 22.
he's also not good anyways.
He's also not good. I
So it doesn't really matter.
He wasn't in the that Tari Eason kind of
Yeah.
like Cam Whitmore like we haven't seen him yet, but like we expect good things.
Yeah, and Dylan Brooks is just notoriously like not that good of a player, you know.
Yeah.
So so think about it like this. You just took those two out and put in Kevin Durant in DFS. Honestly, either one of those guys would be enough for me to say this is a win in the all season, but you just did both,
Yeah.
So,
Legit.
you just solved like number one, your main problem was the lack of oh damn it, I just broke my rubber band. You just solved your number one problem, was just the lack of a go-to perimeter scorer type of guy. And you just added probably the best one of this generation.
Maybe all time.
Yeah. So so to have him there and then now you have now you give is it Amen or Osar? That's there, yeah.
That's our
Osar, okay.
I
I feel bad.
believe. No, I think it's Amen. Amen Thompson on the
Okay.
Rockets. What
Okay,
am I?
wait.
I'm crazy.
I
Yeah.
swear I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
never do
yeah.
that. I can never get that right between those two. It's so weird. But yeah, as I was saying, you give him another year to learn behind, like, he got playoff experience, very good playoff experience, by the way. Learn behind Kevin Durant, help that offensive game up a lot more. Sengun, I think we talked about this before, but Sengun, he has like one of the best players for him. Like,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Also, they signed Clint Capella.
And they just signed Kalila. I completely
So
forgot.
you have Steven Adams and Clint Capella.
That's so many bigs. That's
Their
tough.
big rotation is gonna be like
Yeah.
straight from hell in terms of other teams trying to get rebounds.
Yeah, I just thought about that. Yeah. Yeah, wow. Yeah, so you'll have I don't even know what is that starting lineup looking like?
Well, it's gonna be Fred VanVleet. Is Amen at the two?
I thought he said three. He might be. No, he
So
might be moved to the two now because of
yeah.
KD being there.
Oh yeah, so okay, I'm seeing here. It's gonna be Fred VanVleet, Amen, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, Sengun.
Hmm. Yep.
And then you can do stuff like you so like that's your small ball, right? You could have Sengun play with Steven Adams. You could have Sengun with Capella, whatever you want, right?
A lot of people. I remember there was a thing, but yeah, they had their highest net rating when Steven Adams was on the court too. So You can
Yeah,
imagine
it's
their
a
closing lineup
really
looks like
good
Jabari
center.
Smith is dropped for Steven Adams instead.
Yeah,
And that allows you to stagger Sengun's minutes because all of a sudden you have another guy who can just run the offense seamlessly.
it's it's pretty darn good, man.
That's a
It's
very good team.
pretty good.
Really scary to look at.
Yeah, that's I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Shout out to the Rockets.
Shout out to them, man. Saw exactly what they needed to do to fix it. Can't be so many other teams. You think it'd be so easy, but so many other teams just don't really get it.
Yeah, this is like the year of teams being. I feel like we just came off a stretch of time where teams just swung for the fences and they just swung because the moves were there to be swung for.
Hmm.
But now we're going to these teams like the Rockets, like the Hawks, that are making these swings, but they make sense.
Hmm.
And they're not being stupid and reckless with it. They're not like screwing over their team, so it's like this or nothing.
Right.
Which is crazy because they got Kevin Durant. And they did it so smart. And
Yeah, they
it's
attack they attack the incompetent organization, let's say it like that.
yes, they did. And that's how you're gonna have teams like the Pacers just continue to get better and be good and just make moves that make sense.
Yeah,
So shout out to their front office. Like really. Like
yeah.
this is hopefully what the league is going to. And I mean Daryl Morey is the king. I everything I relate back to Sixers, but Daryl Morey is the king of like the big swings. So it's gonna be like, can he lock it? He just made the biggest swing and looking like a miss right now in Paul George. And I mean, I think Paul George is gonna be better. But this I'm not talking about the Sixers, but it's like we're gonna see guys like these start to like either have to adapt or fizzle out. Um, and it honestly starts with Sam Presti, like knowing when to make moves. That's
Yeah.
just it's about when to make moves, when to swing big. Um, because when the Thunder got all those picks, I assumed it was gonna be. I was like, well, you can't draft all those players and develop all those players. And I'm like, I assume they're gonna package a bunch of them and get a star in there. That's what I was thinking. I was like, because I think I asked you at one point. I was like, at what point do they just go all in for a star? And you're like, I don't know, man. Just let them cook, and then they develop stars, and they're gonna have a continuous carousel of rotation players. I was gonna make a TikTok about this because something that the Thunder did is they have these like role players that haven't played that much, like a Jalen Williams, like an AJ Mitchell, and they're signing them now to
Yeah.
extensions when you don't have to. And they're not big extensions, but they're giving them guaranteed money, guaranteed years.
Right.
And it reminds me of it's a of so in the MLB the Atlanta Braves, they won a World Series. They got all these players and they got these young guys in their first year. They
Hmm.
signed like 10-year contracts after their first year.
Really.
Like it was like 10 years, but it was like 10 million per year. So it's like a really small contract. And they signed like three or four guys to deals like these. And now they're dealing with injuries and stuff now. But it's like they're always consistently in the race because they have these players all across the board and they're not like overly broke with these big contracts with these big players because they do it early and they get a bargain. And when I saw the J Will contract, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's I mean that's good value. And then I saw the AJ Mitchell contract. I'm like, oh, I know what y'all are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're doing, and I think it's I think it's what you do. I think you believe in the guys that you draft, and you believe in the staff that you have to develop them. And
Hmm.
that's how you make a team that's going to be good for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be weird seeing this, like going into the future, seeing how other teams might try to apply this, because we could also see ways it doesn't work out, you know.
Yeah.
We could see a lot of contracts on the books that people are just like, well, this guy's gonna be sitting at the end of the bench, or
For our listeners, he keeps flipping this little timer, and I was really trying to hold it, but he just anyway. Go ahead. It's
yeah,
yeah. It's their risks that they're risks. Bottom line, they're risks.
yeah. Bottom line, the risk, but it's also a smart way to move around the whole fact that you're gonna have to pay a lot of these players because having these type of contracts are gonna make them a lot more easily tradable too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
can you imagine? Like I've been making fun of the Timberwolves the past like day because of because of the Nas Reed and Julius Randle contracts, which aren't honestly aren't that
They're not
bad.
that bad, but it's just
But when you look at a team like the Thunder who are signing their bench guys to like what 3 years, $24 million, it's like wow. Like I wish Sam Presti would have signed J. Will for 5 years, 125 million. Like
right.
I wish I would have woke up to some shit like that. But I didn't. You've got, I saw a graphic that said Aaron Wiggins, Kassan Wallace, and Alex Caruso making $34 million compared to what, just those two, just Julius Randle and Nas Reed making $35 million a year.
That front court is disgusting with how much money is in that front court.
There's a lot of money going on that front court, you know.
And Cat's not even there anymore.
Yeah, you got Rudy Gobert out there getting paid like he's an MJ. you know. So it's just really funny to like look at how other teams make these moves.
Yeah.
So we're gonna like see in like what 2 years how a lot of these contracts start to play out, especially for the Thunder, obviously in like what 2 years, a year or two. I think yeah, is when you're gonna have to start worrying about J-Dub and Chet's contracts, those big old extensions, but then at that point you're gonna be able to move on from things like Isaiah Hartenstein or Alex Caruso's.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna see. I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of this in team building just in general. Because teams are gonna really have to start thinking about this. Like teams can't just be like, oh, okay, it's whatever. I'll sign these guys when we get there. Like they can't just willy-nilly keep three superstars on the same team because you can't afford that.
Yeah.
Well, also keeping a team that isn't just a bunch of G League guys.
It's I mean it's about keeping the irreplaceable and then replacing the replaceable well,
It's a good one.
right?
Yeah, that's a good way to That's a good way to describe it.
And I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and Howie Roseman has like done that to a T where okay, we have these difference making generational skill players. We are going to lock them up and they are going to be guys making big money.
Mhm.
The guys on the other key positions that um like defensive line, you have even offensive line a little bit. We're gonna pay like the stalwarts in that position, the guys that need to be there, but then the guys that are like a tier below, we're gonna draft guys that are gonna be right up there and they're gonna be trained the same way. They're gonna line up the same. They're gonna be ready to go. And that's why people are predicting Moro Jomo to come in and replace Milton Williams, and it'll be fine
Yeah,
because we've seen this happen before. Because
yeah,
it was we lose Javon Hargrave, and look, boom, Milton Williams is there.
yeah,
So it's like that's exactly what the Thunder is doing, and that's exactly what the Rockets aren't doing that, but they're setting themselves to be able to do that because they haven't like destroyed their draft stock,
yeah,
their stockpile of drafts, and they still have their young core. So it's like they're making big swings but keeping everything intact. So
yeah,
it's smart business. It's good stuff.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and anything else about the Rockets we got?
No, that's probably going to be the two seed in the West again. And I'll watch out for them in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's good. I want them in Thunder. in the conference final, man. I mean, I know it's June, it's July, but it's like, you know, it's
Uh,
it's it's when you see these rosters, like these are rosters you want to see.
yeah.
I think I have one more team that I really want to talk about.
Mhm.
Um, and we kind of already talked about them because it had to do with another team, but the New Orleans Pelicans.
Hmm.
I am confused about what they want because it's like they do the CJ McCollum trade, bring Jordan Poole in. I'm like, cool. Getting younger, getting a little cheaper. I would say Jordan Poole's better than CJ McCollum at this point. I'm like, cool. I'm cool with that. Get younger, whatever. Um, get Zion healthy, but it's like DeJounte Murray is not going to be there to start the season. I presume because he tore his Achilles like mid-season. Um, so
This is a very weird team to look at, actually.
there, it's like a team where it's like, okay, we're still figuring things out, but then you go to the draft and they draft like they're going to be a top two seed in the West because they move up 10 spots in the middle of the first round. Not the lottery. The middle of the first round move up 10 spots and give up an unprotected first round pick that's between them or the Bucks. So it's the better of the pick. Better
Yep.
of the unprotected swap. The Bucks could trade Giannis tomorrow
Yep.
and restart. The Pelicans are a Zion sneeze away from him being out the season or something like that, or missing a bunch of games. And now they're in the lottery again because they're usually in the lottery. So now you have two very good chances to get a very high pick, and you trade the pick away for what's his name? It's like he's a good for Derek Queen.
Yeah.
And shout out Derek Queen. I think he's a cool player. I think, but like, in order for this trade to be worth it, he needs to be all NBA year one. You're gonna have a front court of Derek Queen and Zion Williamson. That's going to be a thing. This
Okay.
is this is gonna be like Derek Queen could be great, and I'm rooting for Derek Queen. I really am. But you are setting yourself up for failure. We talk about smart swings. This is the dumbest swing I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand this move at all.
Yeah.
And guess what? Talk about dumb moves. Apparently, I've heard that the Bulls had an offer to get that same pick that got traded for Lonzo Ball over the trade deadline. It was that same pick. And they said, nah, because we don't want to take on Marcus Smart's contract.
Oh, yeah. The Bulls traded away that whole core and had not gotten the pick for it. That's a first round pick. That's,
Yeah.
that's really funny.
And they said, okay, well, we'll just turn around and give that same exact pick. And it's like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's, it's just two teams that is just malpractice. And I think Joe Dumars he took over as the Pelicans.
Hmm.
And it's like, man, he really loves centers. He really, really loves centers because you draft Derek Queen, right? And then you sign who they signed Kevon Looney.
Yep. That was an odd signing.
Like
It's- I guess maybe they're looking at him to be like a vet guy for Derek Queen. I don't know.
it's so
I,
stupid
I'm
because
trying to, I'm trying to see where they're going, but
like
yeah.
they think they're gonna compete this year. They
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah. Which is weird because they traded away Brandon Ingram and we don't know when DeJounte Murray's coming back.
Yeah, it's like okay, so your two options are Jordan Poole and Zion, right? Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, right? Great players. But what you have around, it's not, you haven't shown me that you can compete because you haven't competed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Unless they're relying on JRE to take another big leap, but all up to guy. We're not gonna I don't really understand them, especially in such a stacked Western Conference. It's like, do you really think you're gonna be doing anything? Like, do you really think you're gonna get that playoff spot?
Do you think this stacks up with the Nuggets, Rockets, Thunder?
Not even just them. Do you think it stacks up enough to get into the playoffs against a team like the Grizzlies or the Kings?
The Kings, yes.
Maybe not. Yeah, the Kings probably. I don't know actually. This team's really bad. Like really looking at the Pelicans, is they're not very good.
They're not good, but yeah, I think the
Not even
Kings
just
could
the
be
Kings
worse. Um,
or the Spurs if they take another step.
Spurs are going to be better. They have to be
Yeah,
better.
yeah, they're gonna take another step.
We have another deal. We have another Shams bomb. Free agent sharpshooter Gary Trent Jr. has agreed to a 2 year, $7.5 million deal to return to the Milwaukee Bucks, plus a player option. I kind of figured he would stay.
Yeah, that's a real nothing burger of a deal, you know. No, it's the Bucks, which is weird to say now, but not only is it the Bucks, but I don't envision them on doing much
Yeah,
this year.
that was my
Whether
spiel on the Pelicans. Do you have did you have Bucks as a team that you want to talk about or no?
no,
Yeah.
they're too uncertain. They're like I want to say like they're the most irrelevant team in the league, but they're not. You know, as
Well,
soon
you
as
have Giannis.
honestly, but as of right now, even if Giannis does decide to stay, you know, which I wouldn't be surprised about. Like I think people are counting on him leaving too much. Like, but like I'm looking at it more as like even if he does stay, they're not going to be doing much. Because not only is this probably the worst supporting cast he's had like ever since he became good.
Yeah, this is
It's like nothing to look forward to this team. They just lost Brooke Lopez. Dame's gonna be out for like probably all of next season. And even if he does come back, he's gonna be a lot worse than he was already this season. And like, who's his second guy?
Kyle Kuzma.
Uh, yeah,
They
unless
signed
you,
Kevin Porter Jr. to a 2 year deal.
yeah. Which is like, I want to make fun of it, but I also like, I am like, I guess they don't. Nobody else wants to go to Milwaukee. I wouldn't want to go to Milwaukee.
Why would you ever want to sign with this team? Like,
Yeah, it's like you don't know if Giannis is gonna be there. At this point, you're like not only that, but it's also a thing of like even if he is there, the team is bad, and it's not a really pretty free agency destination either.
no. I mean, I just think about Jeff T. Talk about when they won the championship. He said after the game, he went home and played the game. Like he didn't even they didn't even go out.
Yeah.
They won the championship. They went home.
Like all the jokes people make about Oklahoma City, they're just as true for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like I saw a joke about how they can't go anywhere in OKC after winning the ring. They had to go to like Fridays or something and then go home by 10:30.
Because everything's closed.
Yeah, but like that's genuinely serious for Milwaukee. Like we have to understand that like teams are gonna be looking at not teams, players are gonna be looking at like, do I even want to be here? If the basketball side of it isn't that good, and then the actual destination is crap,
Yeah,
I might be here.
exactly. Yeah, it's not good. And I don't see them trading Giannis either because there's no deals that would get Giannis to a place to actually make him a competitor because it would destroy any roster.
Yeah.
Like everyone talk about him to the Warriors. What would they would have to go with Jimmy Butler to start?
What do the Warriors even give up? Like
Like you have to give up.
we're not seeing the Kevin Durant trade again. We're not seeing a package that bad again.
No, because this is Giannis.
Yeah,
like we're talking about. This is a top five player in the league.
top three.
Top three, yeah.
Yeah, man. What the fuck is four? What?
That wasn't necessarily the point, but thank you.
This guy. This guy. This guy. Get him off the mic, man. Gosh.
Someone raise the price of his podcast equipment, man.
You know, but
Raise the price of mics.
take away that ring light, man. But yeah, as you were saying though, seriously, yeah, it's like nobody has what it takes to trade for a guy like that. Like when people say trade for Giannis, think about what would it take to trade for SJ or Jokic?
Just give the keys to the franchise at that point.
Exactly.
Just give the keys. It's yeah, it's just not doable.
Yeah.
And he just signed an extension. He
Yeah.
just signed an extension.
This isn't him being an unrestricted free agent. This is we have to trade for this guy.
Yeah. It's not doable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless the Bucks are do some malpractice and just take some crap.
it had to be like a Luca trade.
Yeah, basically.
Because in this market, that Luca trade should not have happened.
Oh no, absolutely not.
That should not have happened.
I very much stand by him. That whole situation was rigged.
It's crazy. And it's like Nico Harrison was talking. He's like, "Yeah, I I hope that this makes up and like lessens the anger of the fans." I'm like, you didn't do anything, dude.
Yeah, you lucked into this.
That like nothing you did secured Cooper Flag for you.
Hmm.
Not a thing.
Yeah. Kyrie getting injured. Anthony Davis and Kyrie getting injured is what secured it. Not you.
Right. And you had Anthony Davis play through an injury the end of that year, and it's like now it's like you said, it's bad, man.
We gotta be looking at him genuinely as like I don't even like wow, what an idiot.
It's
Maybe but maybe he knew something. Maybe he knew the league was gonna give him Cooper Flag, But yeah,
even if you know that,
people
do a trade like that? Like, do you do it? I don't know.
yeah, I still don't think you do it.
I would still rather have Luca than Cooper Flag.
Yeah. It's like why take a bet on a player being a generational superstar when I have one already?
Right. And
But yeah,
I don't know how sure thing Cooper Flag is yet. I'll have to see, but I think he's gonna be pretty good, of course. But
yeah.
we thought Zion was gonna run the league, and it's like he's been really good, but he hasn't. A lot of people thought they were gonna run the league. Um. All right. Do you have any other teams you want to talk about?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like the Spurs.
I also wrote the Spurs down.
Um, what I'm saying? I was thinking about the Sixers and the Bucks, but we talked about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the only real teams I would think about. You know,
I
a lot
I
of the other teams haven't made. What'd you say?
I just real quick. I like what the Spurs did. I think I like how they didn't overthink the Dylan Harper pick. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have a log jam. That's a good problem to have. Figure that out later. Trade De'Aaron Fox if it gets like whatever.
Were people? I didn't know if people were actually like thinking they were gonna like not pick him.
A lot of people were saying they were gonna like trade out of it.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Um, and then Carter Bryant in the mid round was a steal and a half.
Hmm.
So it's like I just like what they're doing, and I think they signed Luke Cornett,
I think so.
which is a
Yeah.
sneak. That's a fine signing. That's a
Oh,
fine. That's cool.
yeah.
Um,
Boston downfall. Here we come.
I saw like their projected starting lineup, and George Niang is on there.
Oh boy,
Um,
is it that rough?
it's pretty bad.
It's bad. We're gonna see some real nasty Jalen Brown hoops, huh?
And yep, and they're saying Al Horford's going to the Warriors. That's the
He's gonna do what he did to the Sixers there. So I wouldn't be worried about that if you're a Boston fan. Or
no,
I would. You need everything you can get.
yeah. I think you thank Horford for his services, and then you move on. All right, so we have some more fan questions to get into. Please in the comments send questions you have. We can do these at the end of the episodes. Um, so a little bit Grizzlies talk. Who do you think ends up leaving the Grizzlies first, Jaren or Ja?
Uh,
Assuming any of them leaves, I don't think they're gonna break any of them up. Um,
yeah, but if one were to leave, I know I'll say Jaren.
I would just say Ja's probably more tradable.
Hmm.
I don't
No,
know
I
because
feel like
Jaren just got on a massive contract.
that is fair. I don't know. It feels like I need to think about the money thing, but it feels like between the two, who's more like easily tradable, or who other teams might want more. It'd probably be Jaren.
His right, he can anchor defense and give you,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like it's also harder to like build around a point guard all of a sudden like that.
yeah,
Like he's not like Ja isn't as young anymore to the point where we're like, oh yeah, this is just be our franchise guy. We'll wait for a while.
right. It's not a
Mm.
Shea situation when
It's
Shea was
not.
like 19. Like
Yeah,
Ja was like
Th-
24, 20,
yeah. This is a
25, something.
this guy has to be the needle mover for us,
Yeah,
And I don't think his off court antics are that bad at this point. It's not that big of a deal.
no.
But I'm looking at it from my other team's perspective. It's not just that, but the injury history could also be something
The
worse.
injury is the problem
Yeah,
because it's real.
yeah, that's like a real bug he
It's
has. And
real.
his style of play, obviously, you're gonna see teams be like, I don't know if I want to trade a bunch of assets for that. You know,
Yeah,
well, he's great. He's been injured a lot, and he's gonna continue to be injured a lot with how he plays. Like I remember I was rewatching that the Lou Dort injury, and I'm like, man, how the fuck are you trying to jump over someone?
right. Yeah, like he. I don't think he needs to like take out dunking, but it's like you gotta pick and choose, man. You gotta
And
pick
it's
and
like
choose.
we're gonna continue to see stuff like that. So that's why I just do not see him getting traded because I just don't see teams making an effort to trade for him.
Yeah.
I think obviously he's better than Jaren. Like that team lives and dies by Ja Morant and how healthy he is.
Yep.
But like teams are gonna be looking at like, oh yeah, Jaren Jackson be our big man. Like like the Celtics.
Celtics
Like,
will love Jaren right now.
like you think they're gonna take Ja for Jaren? I don't know. They're gonna be like, oh, we need our big man. Get him over here. You know? Or yeah, well, actually could.
Yeah. There are so many teams that would take a Jaren Jackson. Like the Rockets. I mean, like imagine like him on that team.
Yeah.
Him next to Sengun, right? Um uh,
Or imagine when Isaiah Hartenstein leaves, Thunder go after that, you know what I'm
that would
saying?
be perfect, honestly.
Exactly.
Him
It's
in a
just
Thunder jersey is disgusting, but that's nasty.
yeah.
But
So it's like you just think about it. It's like it feels like the obvious choice there is Jaren Jackson Jr. though. Like
yeah,
I just like I
I,
don't want to say
I would
Ja's
agree.
untradeable, but like he's damn near untradeable.
It's tougher when like even though Jaren's contract is what it is, he can fit more situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Final question. A little WNBA talk, which we got the Paige Beckers jersey shown there. We're definitely excited to as we get in the thick of the WNBA season talk more women's hoops. But we had big news today.
Yeah.
News today. Um, three teams that used to have professional basketball teams are getting women's teams back. We got Detroit coming back. We got Cleveland coming back, and we got Philadelphia 2030.
2030. Too bad we missed out on all the awesome generational prospects, but we'll be there for the next ones.
Listen, they're gonna keep coming, right?
They're gonna keep coming.
Please, please.
I wish I could have seen Paige in a Philly jersey.
I mean, like we're even gonna miss Juju in a Philly jersey. Like
I
we're
know.
just gonna miss her.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, the big news for us in Philly. We've been asking for this for the longest time. Um. It's really exciting. Oh, one thing I want to say: stop asking Dawn to coach. She says she doesn't want to coach. All right, she wants to be an owner. She's not gonna coach. All right, that's Let's put that to bed. Now, since three more expansion teams were announced today, what are some other cities or states you want to see get a WNBA franchise? I think what jumps out, I know Nashville's currently trying to get a team. I think that'd be a cool spot. Um, some areas that jump out to me. I think I think Miami is an obvious just a big city that is a big market that I mean they're begging for on Twitter everyone's begging for teams in the South. I think there's a Miami team for you. I think that's just an easy one. But one thing that's I think it's important to have back, and it's a shame it's ever left because this was the first dynasty of the WNBA, the Houston Comets, right? Um, bring the Houston Comets back. That original dynasty. Um, I think I think Houston needs a basketball team. That team kind of built the WNBA with Cheryl Swoops on the team. Just a super team that was, and the way the new ownership came in and kind of tanked that team, and then they ended up dissolving. I think they deserve to have another shot at a franchise, similar to how the NBA should bring one to Seattle. Just
Hell no. Oh, my.
historical franchises ripped ripped from the game and
Yeah,
bring a team to Houston back.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I am terrible with geography.
That's okay.
So I cannot tell you. But first I'd say any team that already has an NBA team should have a WNBA counterpart. Like
Yeah,
that shouldn't even be like the fact that there isn't, obviously, it's just growth from the league is gonna promote more of these. But it's
yeah,
also a thing of like it's gonna allow for that transition to be way more seamless, you know, because they already have the infrastructure to support one basketball team. It's gonna be so much easier to do it for another.
yeah, and a lot of these teams already like have hockey teams there too, so they can do multiple stuff, right?
Exactly. And it's gonna be just so much nicer because since the NBA season ended, we have the WNBA right now going on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's gonna be great for NBA fans in general to be able to go from one to the next, you know. Um, yeah, you know. And
and
shout out the
OKC,
Sixers. They're on the hot seat because y'all can't let the WNBA get a Philly team and they already go to the third round before you do.
you got 5 years, guys.
Got 5 years.
I better see a ring in 5 years. It's not
Damn, I better
happening.
see an Eastern Conference banner. Yeesh.
Sheesh.
Bad.
All right, and is there anything else? I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check Shams one more time
I
just
don't
to
think
make
good.
sure
I think
where
I've
I missed
had my
anything.
thing on it all day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's it,
Speaking of the WNBA, shout out Angel Reese.
dude. That was I watched that game. That was the best game I've seen her play, and I've been watching her since college. Before that final game, all right, I'm not a bandwagoner like a
Yeah,
lot of
okay. We
these
know what
people
you
on
are.
Twitter.
We know what you are. Uh,
Um, go
yeah,
Gamecocks. Um, but yeah, just how dominant she was as just a floor general. Like she was just controlling the entire floor and just making insane passes. There's one fast break where she threw like a full court lob to Kia Nurse and it was like threaded the needle right up to the layup in stride. It's just ridiculous stuff she's doing and she's controlling the paint and dominating the boards. Just doing everything like and one after and one and she's really taking the next step to where this style of play, I mean, this is exactly how Asia Wilson became Asia Wilson. This is the exact progression she was doing. So she genuinely has, if she keeps doing this and building off of this, she is a possibility to be one of the best players in the league, genuinely. And I'm super pumped for her. It's exciting. As a Chicago Sky fan, it's super cool to see, and I need everyone to shut up about telling Angel Reese to leave Chicago. All right, we're gonna figure it out.
Uh, that Angel Reese has signed with the Philly Freedom in 2030.
If it's a Philly Freedom, I'm not rooting for that team. That's the dumbest name I've ever heard.
Uh, that that Angel Reese is signed with our whatever our Philly name is gonna be in 2031.
The
So
Philadelphia Rage.
I'm gonna bust out a little dancey dance for that.
Listen, when the Philly team comes, they will become my number one team because it's Philly first always. But Chicago, always have a. They were the first team I started rooting for back in 21. Um, so yeah,
No,
I
but
think
yeah, shout out her and shout out Caitlin Clark and Afisha Collier for All-Star starter captains. It's not All-Star starter captains, it's just All-Star
no,
captains.
no, they're starter cap, they're captains.
No, I know they're captains.
All right.
Is you don't call it All-Star
All
starter
right,
captains.
there's all
You
star
say
captains.
All-Star captains. You just say that.
Nafisa Collier definitely deserve. Kaylin Clark has missed like a large chunk of the season, and she's like she's like playing good, but she's not like
Not better than this player. That's what I know.
she's not better. Like
Uh,
Paige is genuinely like a better overall has been the better overall player. Um, but yeah, I just of course it's gonna be popularity, and she's gonna get the votes. But it's just as far as we're talking like two best, I mean, it's got to be Asia and Nafisa.
yeah,
Like that's just what, but it's fine. It's not that big a deal. Um. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to them. Um. What's that?
big shout out to them, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah for sure. It's
And
a
shout out Paige, All-Star and
All
starter
Star starter first
year,
year.
rookie year. Oh man,
As long as they get
should have been a
Angel in,
storm.
man, they better.
Should have
Should
been a
get.
storm.
Should get.
Should have been a storm.
She was never gonna be a Storm, dude.
Dude, fuck you. I don't care.
Because if the Sparks got the number one overall pick, they would not have traded it to
I know.
you.
I know it's not how it didn't work out like how a usual draft lottery would, but like, come on, dude, you were right there.
He was hoping so bad that the Dallas Wings would accidentally like submit the wrong name or something.
I
Like
know.
it's like, oh, we picked Haley Van Lith, wrong blonde white girl. No,
Man, I was hoping they'd pull a Brooke Lopez and choose the wrong one, man.
it's the wrong Lopez.
Oh man.
Oh man. All right. Is there anything else? Any last words?
Speaking of Brooke Lopez, he signed with the wrong LA team. We were talking about that earlier.
He did so with the wrong LA team. I don't know why the Clippers need both him and Zoo, but
Yeah, he doesn't shoot that good anymore. I don't know if they know that.
he's 38.
God damn, he is? Oh my God.
Yes.
That's
Splash
stupid.
Mountain is just not what he used to be. Um,
He's bad now.
he's bad. I mean, it's bad enough the Bucks signed Bobby Portis again. Um, I don't know. All right, that's gonna be it for us. Um, like, comment, share, download on. We are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify now, so make sure you listen, share. Let's keep this growing, baby.
Or don't, you know. I'm
Or
not your mom.
or don't. I
Or
can't
don't.
control you.
And but
I
you
can't.
should. I can't bribe you.
I would love you to, but I can't force you.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
the decision is yours, and just know if you don't, I'm gonna feel very bad. It's gonna be your fault.
If you don't, then it
All
took
right,
him.
that's gonna be it. We will see you next week.
Yeah.
Peace
Thank you
out.
guys so much for watching as usual.